Hello, and welcome to another session on how to use Acuity Star for clinical faculty. My name is Paul, and today I will walk through the process of entering in a presentation. So I've already logged onto the system as a faculty member. I'm going to go into Research and Scholarly Activities and click on Presentations. You will see that I have several presentations entered already, so I'm able to either edit or clone existing records. So editing would modify that row of data. Clone will create a copy of this data so I can modify a few things with the intent that it's a similar type of presentation. At this point, let's just go into Add New. The pop-up data screen will come up, and I'm able to start my data entry. It's important to note that not all of these fields are required to complete a record. I will highlight the bulk and the most important fields for you to properly classify this presentation record. The presentation type, the first drop-down menu, and the first values are visiting professor and invited lectures. These are designed as teaching-based presentations outside the realm of Schulich. So if you're invited to McGill to give a lecture, and the talk is less than about 5 hours, then invited lectures is the appropriate selection. Once you pass about 5 hours worth of presentations for one event or one presentation, then you're able to classify that as a visiting professorship. A plenary presentation is designed if you're the keynote speaker or a podium speaker or the invited the most important presentation of that series of presentations. Abstract, poster, and conference presentations, these tend to be the more common selections made. So if you are presenting a published abstract, selecting abstract presented will put this presentation and allow it to show up in the abstracts section of your CV. The poster presentation would be if you're presenting a poster, and all other conference type presentations would fall under conference presentation. If you're a student during the presentation, or you're the supervisor of a student and it is a student presentation, you can say that it's a student presentation. Media appearance would be when you're interviewed by the CBC or by a radio or newspaper. Symposia and workshop are fairly self-explanatory. You can present at a symposia, you can present at a workshop, but symposia is also designed as a bit of a catch-all. There's no, it's designed if you, for example, go to a public library to give a talk, then you're not at a conference, you're not teaching, so it would be considered a symposia. So it is a bit of a catch-all. For this example, I'm going to select invited lectures. The next important field is geographical scope. The geographical scope is indicative of the sponsoring organization. So I can be in London, Ontario for a presentation at an international conference. So just note this scope of who is the sponsoring organization. The activity type, there are 3 activity types: community outreach, continuing medical education, and scientific presentation. So research-based presentations should probably go there. If you're invited lecture or professorship, it can go here. Speaking at the Byron Library could at the library could go under community outreach. Competitive is the ability to select whether there was a call for abstracts at a presentation at a conference. 100 abstracts were submitted, 5 were selected. If yours was selected, then you competed to present. The next important field is the role. So this is the role that you took on the presentation. Visiting professor, keynote speaker, and invited lecturer, all intended to map to those first 3 types. So of the same values, so again, podium and plenary and keynote are all the same. Most values that you select here would be presenter, so you stand up to give a talk. You can also be recognized as a co-author for a presentation, so you didn't actually stand up to speak at the presentation, but you'd like to be acknowledged for the work that you've done. If you were a supervisor as well too, so this could be the supervisor of a student giving a poster presentation. The media presentation type is a good place to select the role of expert, and then panelist and facilitator are self-explanatory. So you're able to indicate the title of the presentation, the organizer of the presentation, where the presentation took place. It was in Canada, it was in Ontario, and it was in London. Main audience is a field that comes from Common CV and is designed to capture the type of audience that you're talking to. I suspect that general public and knowledge user will be the most used values from here. We'll go with knowledge user. If there were other presenters involved, you can record their names. So this would be maybe for a panel of people. And then any of the other information, if there is citation information for the publication, if it was published in the conference proceedings, if you know how long the talk was, if you received an evaluation score for it, you can record that here. And the only other piece that I would say is education presentation. Clicking this value, regardless of the type of presentation or the role, will ensure that you're indicating this is an education presentation and you'd like it to show up on your teaching dossier. At this point, I have values enough to click on save and to continue, or I can continue data entry, and I will wrap it up here.